What's going on, everybody? It is Clay Mahaffey back again on Mahaffey Moto with another moto vlog. So, whoa, what's that got to do? So I did the walk around of the Harley Sportster 1200 Custom, and so I'm going to tell the story about me purchasing the old Sportster. So, but first, I've had a lot of people asking me where I've been, what I've been doing for the past 9 months that I have not made any YouTube videos. And well, I was in school. I was a full-time student, and I also was I got a new job. So between being a full-time student and working full-time, it doesn't give you a lot of free time except on the weekends. So on the weekends I wasn't really wanting to make videos. I was just pretty much wanting to ride my motorcycle. And so about the new Sportster, it was about midsummer I decided I wanted something a little bit more powerful than the Shadow. So I pretty much started looking for Sportster 1200s, and so I pretty much started looking for Sportster 1200s, and so it was actually July 4th. I was scrolling through Facebook, the marketplace, and was looking at Sportsters and saw a Sportster on there. I'll put it on the screen right now, the ad or the picture that was on the ad. It was a 2006 Sportster 1200 Custom for $4,000. And it looked really good. It looked nice. And in the ad it said it ran good and everything. So I decided, hey, I might want to go check this thing out. So a couple days go by, and it was on a Sunday. I messaged the guy. I said, "You still have the Sportster? If so, when can I come and see it?" He said, "I do still have it, and you can come see it anytime." And so I said, "How about the next 30 minutes?" And he sent me back, "All right," and he sent me his address. So me and my dad went and looked at it because didn't know if I was going to buy it that day or not. So I got my $4,000 and went and looked at it. So I get there, and the first bad sign I see was he's out there. I pull up at the address and I see him standing by the Sportster, and it is cranked up. And when you buy something, you don't really want it to be cranked up because you really want to see it from a cold start. So I get there, he's out there standing by it, it's cranked up, and I hear it running. It's not running the best. It's kind of spitting and sputtering and backfiring. And so I basically do the normal, "Hey man, how's it going, Clay?" Introduce myself. He introduces himself. And the motorcycle looked really nice, really clean. Only thing is, it just didn't seem like it ran very well. It was backfiring and missing. And so he had the choke pulled out, and I stood there and looked at it for about 10 minutes, and once to go, I asked him, "Can I push the choke in?" And he said, "You can try it." So I pushed the choke in, immediately goes dead. So I was like, all right, this thing has issues. And so he tells me, yeah, it's not running the best right now because it's been sitting up for 6 months. Because he had a new motorcycle or whatever. So it's been sitting up for 6 months. I'm like, dang, 6 months. And so I look at it a little bit more. Everything looks really nice on it. It's got 15,000 miles. And I said, does it, can you ride it? He said, yeah, it rides good. And I was like, I kind of didn't believe him. I was like, all right. I was looking at it, I was kind of nervous hearing it run. I was kind of nervous to ride it. And I said, hey, can you ride it up and down the road right here in front of us, just so I know it runs good and everything? He says, yeah. So he gets on it, and it still has the choke pulled out. It's still spitting and sputtering, backfiring. And so he rides down the road. Yeah, it rides. And when he's pulling in the driveway, it immediately goes dead when he's pulling the driveway. And so I was like, yeah, this thing doesn't run good at all. And I look at it a little bit more, and I said, well, can I test drive it? He says, yeah, go ahead. So I get on it, and I'm headed down the road about a quarter mile away. And yeah, about a quarter mile away, there's a stop sign. I stop at the stop sign, and what do you know, it goes dead. And it won't crank back up. So I'm stuck there stranded on the side of the road with someone else's motorcycle that I'm test driving. He probably thinks I've wrecked it. And so I don't really know what to do. It won't crank up. So I'm looking at it, and I notice that the gas is turned off. So I turn the gas back on, it cranks up, it's still running rough. And I pull back up to his house, and it goes dead when I pull in the driveway. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know about this. In my mind, I'm saying that, and he says, all it needs is some new gas. That's all it needs. I was like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. He says, how about this? No, wait, I tell him I can't really make an offer with it running like this. I'm sorry, but thanks, but no thanks. It's pretty much what I tell him. And he's like, how about this? How about I drain the gas tank, put fresh new gas on it, and send you a video of it running perfectly? I said, yeah, sure. And so I leave, and a couple days later, he sends me a video. It's running not a whole lot better, but decently. And he said he put new gas on it, and he's put 200 miles on it since I've looked at it, and it runs great. And so I said, all right, I'll think about it. And so I said, all right, I'll think about it, and I'll get back with you. So I think about it for about a week, and I'm thinking in my mind, I really kind of want that motorcycle, and it's $4,000. So I messaged him, I say, hey, can I come look at it again? And he says, yeah, no problem. And I schedule a time we schedule out a time to go look at it. And I pull up. Well, me and my dad actually pull up, and what do you know, it's not running the best. It's running a little bit better, a little bit of progress. But it's still backfiring, and it won't run unless you got the choke pulled out. So I'm like, dang. It looks good, so I'm thinking, well, it's been sitting up for 6 months. What could possibly have gone wrong in 6 months? I was like, a carburetor or bad gas, which is not bad gas, so it has to be the carburetor. And so I tell him, yeah, man, it's kind of not running a whole lot better. He's like, yeah, I know, it was running good, but it just went back running bad again. I don't know what's wrong with it. He seemed kind of frustrated about it. I said, look, I'll give you $3,000 for it. And he had it for sale for $4,000. I said, I'll give you $3,000 for it. That's me taking a chance on it. I don't know if this is going to be an easy fix or a bad fix, or even if it can be fixed. And so I tell him $3,000, and he looks at me, he looks at the bike, he says, let me call my wife. So in my mind, if he's calling his wife, that means that I think it's pretty much sold. If he's calling his wife, because she's not going to want him to, well, she's going to want $3,000, and obviously probably not want him to have 2 motorcycles. And he walks off, he's talking to his wife, he comes back, he says, yeah, I can do $3,000. And so I was like, ah, great, I'm kind of stuck with it now. So I said, all right. So I give him the $3,000, and he's got a whole bunch of other stuff comes with it. He's got an extra seat, extra luggage rack. He's got all the stock stuff and paperwork on it. So I mean, he's taking good care of it, but I think it just sat up for 6 months. So he gives me all that. I load it up in my dad's truck. I get on the motorcycle, and I'm on my way home. And so I basically have the truck pulled out the whole way home, and I think it went dead like once or twice. But other than that, it was all right. It still backfired and ran kind of crappy. So I get home and I'm looking at it, and I was like, well, for $3,000, it's rideable. So I get on the internet, I ordered a carburetor rebuild kit, and I ordered new spark plugs. So a couple days later, the spark plugs and the rebuild kit come in, and I get right on it after work and rebuild the carburetor and put new spark plugs in it. And I went to crank it up after I did all that, and it's going, it basically is idling like crazy. So I get the idle screw, and I let off on the idle screw a little bit, and it runs fine. And other than that, just a little carb rebuild kit and new spark plugs, it runs fine. And I haven't really done nothing like work-wise on it since then. I just put the new bars and everything on it, but I mean, it runs pretty good. So since I got it in July, I've put it had about 15,000 on it, so it's got right at 18,000 miles on it right now. So I put 3,000 miles on it, and haven't really had a whole lot of issues. Only thing is, when it's cold, it kind of misses like once or twice while it's warming up. And dude, they're not. It misses every now and then while it's warming up, but once it gets warm, it's pretty good. Oh, and I put a new battery in it. Probably it was like 2 weeks ago I put a new battery in it. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the story of me buying the Sportster. So like, comment, subscribe, and keep God first, and I'll see you on the next one.